Coming up next on Get Caught in a Net.
Get caught in a net with a net. For your mind, body, and soul. Get caught in a net with a net. It's your intellectual radio show. Here to inspire you and encourage you to be your very best. Get caught in a net with a net.
You are now tuned in to Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette, where your hosts, Annette Harris, analyze intriguing life questions and concerns, such as, do Christians suffer from mental illness? Have you wondered why they act abnormal? Or you may ask, what is really going on in their minds? Do you need Annette? Well, keep listening for a biblical understanding of the psychology of the mind.
Great evening, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on into another wonderful segment of Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette. It's a special segment on this evening, and I'm so excited to be here with you. We're going to feature a wonderful, wonderful individual who's doing great things. I met her probably a few months ago, and I wanted to bring her in to talk to us about what she does, and you are going to be pleasantly surprised. This, of course, is, a little bit different. We normally come in on Wednesdays at 12 noon Central Standard Time. I'm your girl, Annette Harris. I'm the host of Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette. Also, I am the CEO of Get Caught in a Net Incorporated, which is how you're able to listen to us on today. And I am also the award-winning author of that bestseller, Surviving a Silenced Heartbeat. We are going to jump right in. I'm going to bring my guest in because we're on a limited time on tonight. And I want you guys to get the full advantage. And, before we end on tonight, I am going to ask her to come back with us. But let me bring her in and have you meet this wonderful woman of God. This is Sanina Ellison Jones is with us on this evening. How are you doing?
Good evening, Miss Annette. Thank you so much for having me. I am well.
Good, good, good. I'm so glad that that we're here on this evening. I think when we started on tonight, you and I were talking about, we finally got a chance to get you on. We've been trying for probably since October, right?
Yes, I'm happy we're able to get together.
Yes, definitely, definitely. I'm going to encourage you guys that are watching us on this evening to make sure you go ahead and click the love, thumbs up button if you wouldn't mind sharing this out. You can tag individuals directly into the live feed because we are going to have a great conversation on this evening. I am live on Facebook, Annette Get Caught in a Net, also on Instagram, YouTube, even on TikTok right now. We're trying to do a little something over there as well. But you guys can get a chance to see us. If you're not able to watch it live, or whoever you tag in, they can always come back and watch the replay. So again, we don't want you to miss anything on tonight. When I posted my promotional video for tonight, I had the topic up there, a Realtist reality. And we're talking today because, a lot of times we only look at realtors. And Sanina has a different title that I am just now really learning about. But we wanted to talk to her. And I also had on there location. We always say, hear that in reference to real estate. And so I wanted to talk to her. She is the CEO of ReCHRG. I have a little bit of her bio here. Founder and CEO of ReCHRG Incorporated. And that's a boutique real estate brokerage firm in Chicago, Illinois. We are in the Midwest, guys. And it says here that becoming a realtist was her dream, which goes well with her desire to help others. So let's jump right into this. First of all, Tell us a little bit about you in your own words. I've read just a little bit of your bio, but if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself to my audience to tell them who you are.
Absolutely, Annette. Again, thank you so much for having me. So I am Sanina Ellison Jones, the CEO and executive broker for ReCHRG Inc. We're located right here in Chicago in the South Loop. Prior to that, my background was in finance. I worked for JP Morgan Chase for about 12 years or so, got my Series 6 and 63 investment licenses. So I have a background in finance, but I fell in love with real estate. I started in real estate about 2004, got my real estate license, and I've been going full time in real estate. But what I found, and I love that this is a Christian show because my story is so unique to me in that I started in real estate to make a lot of money. But I also started during the 2008 recession, right? And so when I started in real estate, values were plummeting and there were hundreds of properties on the market and each one was selling for less than the next. And so it was a very difficult time to be in real estate. But it wasn't until I found organizations that I could find community and serve God's people, and the money followed me, right? And so when I found my purpose and my passion, that's when really things really started to expand and explode for me. So becoming a realtist approximately 7, maybe 8 years ago, it really shifted my thinking and the paradigm of my thinking because real estate now was more of a tool and a platform to help our people. We learned, or I learned quickly, that the homeownership rate in our community was lower than it had been in the last 50 years. Nationally, it was about 40% then, it's about 44% now. So it's not increasing, exponentially. It's very slow to increase. And so what we do with the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, which is the national organization, and then locally here, the Dearborn Realtors Board, I had the privilege of being the president of this organization for the past 2 years, is we work to increase homeownership and advocate for homeownership in the African American community, predominantly where we need specific attention. And so if I take a pause and talk a little bit more about the mission of this organization, it's democracy in housing. And, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers was started back in 1947. The Dearborn Realtors Board was started in 1941 at a time where discriminatory practices in lending were rampant. We weren't able to live anywhere. There were restrictive covenants on deeds where you weren't able to transfer property to African Americans. There was redlining where lenders were not lending in our community. And so while we fought against many of these barriers, systemic barriers, there's still so many that still exist, and the systems are still in place. So while the red line is no longer there, there's a map where the line is now green. So the systems and the barriers still exist. So the challenges are still there, and we're working to try to continue to be at the forefront of policy change to ensure that things don't go back to the way that they once were. We're trying to continue to advance housing policy and housing efforts.
Wow. I mean, thank you for that. Thank you for giving that information. So many things were going through my mind as you were talking. And of course, I think when you first started talking, the first thing that came to my mind was redlining, because you said you wanted to do something to help our, us, help our community. And can you clarify for me? Because you said it was the red line, but now it's green. What exactly does that mean?
So there was literally a map. The Federal Housing Administration, FHA, created restrictions on a map that said these particular areas are where the African American communities live or where they exist. And they colored those areas on the map red. And lenders were prohibited from lending in these areas. Well, fast forward to 2024, redlining is illegal. So you
Mhm.
can't do that. However, we still find challenges in our communities when it comes to getting loans. There's things called loan level price adjustments where we call it the poor pay more, right? And so there's all of these additional added fees when you're lending in certain zip codes. And so
Right.
there's actually a map. I was listening to a documentary where the lenders in this particular setting were looking at a map. And so instead of the map being red because it's illegal, the map was green. But the areas that were green were areas in African American communities. And so what they were identifying were the areas where they did not want to lend money. And so while the law has changed, the practices and the bias, the mindset of certain individuals, it still exists. So it's still problematic in some areas. Many, have gotten better, but there's still some challenges that we face in that space.
Good God Almighty. My hat is off to you for tackling this. This is, I'll just be honest, it just kind of angers me that we are still facing something like that. You know what I mean? Like you said, we're in 2024. You would think that by now there would be some major changes where, that's not still occurring. But um, we thank God for individuals like you. So, ReCHRG, ReCHRG, tell us the background because you said you want to go into talking about that. So, why don't we start there about ReCHRG?
Absolutely. So again, I've been licensed as a real estate professional since 2004. So I'm coming up on my 20-year anniversary here.
Oh, congratulations.
And around 2014, I started my own real estate company. One of the goals that I always had was to create a platform for others who look like me, who wanted to get into this space. And I've learned that, I make an income while making an impact. So
Yeah.
while we can make tons and tons of money in real estate selling homes, we also have the responsibility, which also often sometimes comes as a burden, to educate our community and help them understand that homeownership is an opportunity for you as well. Homeownership is the biggest way that wealth is generated in this country.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not enough of us are in the space, either as the facilitators, as the practitioner, or as the homeowner themselves. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to create my brokerage, to create a space where we can make money and make an impact together. So I started the brokerage at Chicago Homes Realty Group in 2014. And then during the pandemic, things got a little wonky. We had to recharge, right? We had to recharge ourselves, recharge our lifestyles. People were changing the way that they lived. They needed more space so that we could um, socially distance and all of the things, right? And so that word just kept coming to mind: recharge, recharge. And I looked at the letters of my company, which were CHRG, real estate is RE. And so I just kind of flipped it
Yeah.
and I put it together. So my company is now ReCHRG without the vowels, ReCHRG, instead of the traditional way that you spell it. But in addition to the brokerage, out of that also came a need for training, and increasing the business acumen for us in this space to make money. So what I've seen over the last 20 years is that there's certain individuals that do really well in real estate, but it's based on relationship. It's based on your network. And oftentimes we don't come from a background where daddy had the golf buddies that had multi-million dollar companies that we can sell their kids houses to. That's
Mhm.
just not our network. But I also realized that even despite that not being the network, there's still a ton of opportunity if you have the right knowledge. And so my goal with creating ReCHRG University is to create a coaching and mentorship program for those newer agents or agents that just haven't quite figured out their niche yet, to create community where they can learn, increase their business acumen, and start making more income while making impact in real estate. I realized that I've had the luxury in being in organizational leadership. I've been exposed to so much. So I wanted to pour out all of what I've learned and share that with others.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I see how the name came about. And you know what? I always say, necessity is the mother of all invention, really. So obviously you saw the need, and the name kept coming back to you. I'm glad it's actually very apropos. You've done so much in, it seems like a little short amount of time. And Queen, my hat is off to you. It really is. I see here that you are a recent graduate of the Goldman Sachs. Is that 10K small business cohort? I believe you talked about that. Tell me, what is the difference between a realtist and a realtor? Is there a huge difference?
It's really around mission and philosophy. So I am a realtor. I have a real estate license. I had to join the National Association of Realtors by way of that. That makes me a realtor. But the philosophy of a realtor is they protect private property rights, right? And so anyone who joins the National Association of Realtors, you are a realtor. Anyone who joins the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, you are a realtist. Under the auspice or the hat of the realtist, you don't have to be a real estate broker. It encompasses real estate professional. So whether you're a general contractor or an appraisal, property manager, you can be a realtist. And we advocate for equity in this space. Our focus is very specific around democracy and housing because we've been left out and excluded from participating intentionally for many, many years. Mm-hmm. So when we were allowed to become realtors, I want to say in 1960s, there were so many years that have gone by that where we weren't allowed not only to be realtors, but to buy homes or to live anywhere in the city of Chicago. And so the Realtist space is an advocacy organization that advocates on behalf of real estate professionals to ensure that there's democracy in housing, but most importantly, that there's equity.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. And it makes sense. It makes sense. I also see here, and we're not going to be here long. I'm going to read this real quick because I want to tell you why she's, we have to cut off so early tonight. She's also served as the 2017 to 2019 president of the Realtist Women's Council of Illinois, the local Chicago chapter of the Women's Council of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and she currently serves as the 2023 to 25 president of the Dearborn Realtist Board. Okay, and I wanted to make sure we heard all of that. She talked a little bit about some of the things that she's done and when she graduated and how she came about in this particular field. And tonight, am I understanding you're going to be honored on tonight?
Yes, Annette. So we just finished a 3-day City of Chicago Community Receivership Program. So receivership is a court process by which property transfers hands from one party to another. So most people are unfamiliar with it. By design, the system does not want everyone to understand the process and obviously to participate in the process, but there have been select few entities that have participated for many, many decades. And so we came about this information that the city wanted to create a space to enhance capacity for emerging developers in the city of Chicago. This was about 7 years ago when we started. So we're in the 7th iteration or the 7th cohort of our receivership class. We just graduated 170 receivers on yesterday. And today the Department of Housing is having their annual holiday party event, and they wanted to recognize, and I'll be one of the individuals that they'll recognize as being co-author of the City of Chicago receivership program.
Beautiful. Congratulations, my sister. Congratulations. I'm excited for you. Like I said, you're making head waves, you're doing things. And I'm going to let her go. But can you do me a favor before you go on today? Two things. Can you promise me that we will have you back so we can have a little bit more time to talk with you?
Absolutely. Listen, I hate to have to hit and run to just kind of jump in and jump out, but I did not want to miss the opportunity to connect with you. I realize that people don't have to recognize you. They don't have to honor you with their time, and you reaching out to me, I felt honored by that. So I wanted to respect that, and honor you in return by making sure that I made myself available. I just found out about the award situation just yesterday.
Yes.
So definitely I appreciate you, and I'm excited to come back, and I can't wait to come back.
Okay, great. I'm glad we got that out the way. And real quick, before you exit, can you just give some encouraging words to individuals who, whether they're looking in this particular area or something else you just want to encourage my listeners with on this evening?
Yeah, listen, knowledge isn't just profit or power. It's also the opportunity to profit. And one of the things that I realized in real estate is when you increase your acumen in whatever space you're in, whatever your craft is, you position yourself to be very powerful and very useful. And one of the things that my pastor always said is, if you can't be used, then you're not useful, right? And so you want to make yourself available to be used. And I just wanted to encourage someone that it's never too late, no matter where you are in life, no matter what you've done, no matter what you've experienced, you can always pick yourself back up and put yourself back in the game. And one of the most profound ways to do that is through knowledge.
Love it. Straight to the point. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Congratulations again on being recognized on this evening. And I pray that everything goes well for you. And I'm excited. We're going to make the connection. Shout out to your assistant, Corey. I mean, Corey is always on it. That's a good assistant you have. So I'll reach back out to your assistant and we can see if we can try and coordinate getting you back on for the beginning of the year. And I mean, because you have so much more that I believe that you can share with everyone that's listening and watching. And we'll make that connection. Okay.
Absolutely. And I'll leave you with my contact information for anyone who wants to find me. I'm
Please
on
do.
all social media sites at Sanina_Jones. Or you can also reach out to me right on my website, which is my maiden name, SaninaEllison.com.
Okay. All right. We'll make sure we have that in the comment section on all these different platforms because that was, of course, the last question to make sure how they can find you. So thank you for giving that information. And thank you again. I'm going to let you get out of here and you go. Just be yourself and happy holidays to you. And
Happy holidays to you.
thank you. And we'll talk soon. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, as she's exiting on tonight, I thank you so much for jumping in on this evening. We just did a quick session to talk with my guest, Sanina Ellison Jones, realtor, realtist. And I'm telling you, she gave us a lot of great information on tonight. So much so, of course, that we're going to have her back. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. You enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening, and we'll be back on next week. If you did not hear on yesterday, we're going to have health and wellness on next week, 2 weeks earlier than we normally do, because of course this is holiday month and the fourth Wednesday falls on Christmas Day. So I won't be doing a live show for the last 2 weeks of December. So we're going to have Dr. Hill come back on next week. So take a look at the promo for next week and we will see you soon. And it'll be another time for you to come on and get caught in the net. On the next session of Get Caught in the Net.
Get caught in a net with